Update. Roommate with eating disorder won't stop eating our food. Hello everyone and welcome to the update to this post, and I guess update to this post as well. So it's 3 people in the house. Me, early 20s NB. A, late 20s F. And B, mid 20s NB. B and I are friends and A is the problem roommate. A is very ill with an eating disorder and has been binging and purging our food and at this point has probably consumed $500 of our stuff. About a week ago I had planned to have a discussion with her about expectations in the bathroom, because I felt like her maid. But it quickly devolved into shouting after she basically told me, "I'm sick and I'm trying. I don't know what else you want from me." There were also complaints about her using a lot of dishes and not taking care of them. I had been very gross in the bathroom that I share with her. Pee on the seat, leaving diarrhea unflushed for hours, etc. But after I lost my cool on her and yelled she's been better. She also doesn't own any of the stuff except the kettle and uses like 1/3 of the dishes despite eating all her meals at her program and is currently hoarding spoons in her room. Which again we yelled at her for during the big argument. She still does not put her dishes in the dishwasher or empty the dishwasher though. And she hasn't stopped eating our food. So we're locking it up. She really showed her true colors after she refused to take responsibility for any of her actions. No apologies or plans to make it better. She also said she doesn't permit us to lock up our food, even though we've tried to get her to accept any other solution. Thank you to everyone who responded to either post, and I'm sorry I don't have a better update to give y'all. TLDR. Things didn't get better and now we have to lock up our food. Turns out roommate A is sick and an asshole. Sue. Doesn't permit you to lock up your own food? She doesn't get to decide that. Definitely keep your food away from her. Definitely lock up your food. I'm wondering if you can put a lock on your bedroom door. Keep food and cutlery, dishes, glasses etc. in there. Make it harder for her to get access to anything. It's not ideal but will force her to take some responsibility. As for the bathroom, can you start charging her a cleanup fee? Charge her for cleaning products and your time. If you push back and make things difficult she might leave. Lol. You are going to get a lot of, "I told you so," sounds completely impossible to live with. You and B should make sure to move out in the spring, and warn any potential new renters. Also, it sounds like you shouldn't just lock your food up, but also your dishes and cutlery. And can't you switch bathrooms? So that you share with B. And A can shit her own one up till the cockroaches come home to roost? Regarding A's go-to excuse, to quote Pete Davidson, being mentally ill is no excuse to act like a jackass. It's up to A to manage her mental illness in a way that doesn't impact your lives too negatively. Yes, it's nice to be understanding of her problems, but at some point, being too understanding becomes enabling, and that doesn't help anyone. You have to put limitations on people. Even though they are sick, they are affecting other people. Locking up your food was a good idea. If you have to start keeping your own set of utensils with you, or just keep one set out for her and keep all others in a safe place. It is a tricky situation. Putting up strict boundaries is sometimes the only thing you can do for people to realize that what they are doing is wrong and they won't get away with it. I think it's time to consider eviction or moving out. Breaking the lease may end up being cheaper than continuously losing money on food consumed by others and the loss, replacement of kitchen items. I don't see how her eating disorder is affecting her ability to clean up after herself. Unfortunately, she sounds incredibly inconsiderate of others' belongings and spaces. Jesus. Tell her you don't permit her idiocy. But it quickly devolved into shouting after she basically told me, "I'm sick and I'm trying. I don't know what else you want from me." I might come across as an asshole here, but this sentence right there? I would have lost my cool and would have been way meanier tbh. That chick needs a fucking reality check. Her illness is not your responsibility. Her illness is not a free pass to be a nasty bitch. And she doesn't permit you to lock up your food. Who the hell she thinks she is? Seriously, she is taking advantage of you. No illness in this world gives any human the right to act the way she does. She is using her own issues as a shield and excuse to behave the way she wants to. Kick her out and live in peace. Been in and out of recovery for 9 years. You're doing the right thing. In early stages of recovery, it's easy to be super selfish and not see it. Set those boundaries and stick by them. You're not her parents and you don't have to deal with her crap. As someone who has had an eating disorder for years, everyone involved has my sympathy. When the urge to binge happens, people with EDs will do everything possible to either avoid doing it or everything possible to make it happen. I've stolen other people's food during my binges. It really is an addiction. But you always have to replace the stuff ASAP. It's just respect. As for the hygiene, I'm so sorry. Suffering does not excuse leaving your pukey, shitty toilet that way when you have to share it. I admit, I get lazy when I have my own bathroom. But when I have a roommate, that toilet is damn sure getting clean up even if I just shit my brain out or vomited my guts up. I was in your roommate's shoes when I first started undergrad. I went into college with a severe eating disorder that no one acknowledged. So it just got worse and worse. I had 3 roommates and took turns eating their food to keep them from finding out. Like your roommate, I wouldn't let myself buy anything but Jell-O and lettuce and such. The thing is that when you're starving, whether from a mental illness or not, the body does anything it can to get sustenance. So I literally found myself at the mercy of my ed, eating as much food as I could get my hands on while I was alone in the room. The memories fill me with so much self-hate and anxiety, because I can't believe how fucking shitty I was to do that. That being said, the ed didn't make me an asshole. Sure, I was irritable and angry 24/7. But one day one of my roommates asked me if I'd been eating her food. And the shame that flooded my body knowing that they knew absolutely devastated me. I have never felt more ashamed in my life. I told them that I had, and silently vowed to do whatever it took to not do that anymore. Instead of stealing food from my roommates, I started bringing containers to the dining hall and shoving food into them for later. I binged on that instead. I literally had to be proactive and plan to binge, rather than pretending I could be strong and avoid it. But I did it because the shame of what I'd done cut me so deeply. Your roommate is just an asshole. Her ed doesn't give her an excuse to be that way. Locking up your food is no different than locking up money that someone is stealing. And you have every right to do so. I'm sorry you got the shitty end of the roommate stick. I completely understand the hell that is an eating disorder. And I empathize with her lack of control around food. At my worst, I did similar things. But when called out, I fucking stopped. Because I realized how not fucking cool it was to make my ed someone else's problem. Is there no way you can get her to move out? Or can you and B move out to another apartment on your own? You said she's in a program? Can you tattle on her to the program director? If they're a mental health professional, they might have a better time at confronting her. Remember kids, mental illness isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility. I struggle with an ed and at the moment I live alone. So there aren't issues. But if I was with a roommate and I ever ate their food in a binge, I would apologize profusely and pay for it the second I snapped out of it. You'd have to be a massive asshole not to. Sounds like she an asshole to me. Being mentally ill doesn't preclude you from being a dick woman shrugging medium light skin tone. Disease or not, she doesn't have the right to do this. Any of it. If you can't kick her out, make her miserable until she leaves. Lock up all food. Do not speak to her. Take pictures of everything mess she makes and send it to her and tell her to come clean it up. Literally run her off. Mental illness is a struggle, but she's being an absolute dick. I'm sick and I'm trying. I don't know what else you want from me. Oof. I've been there. Except at the time I was sick and I was trying, except I was being denied treatment for my mental health. So really, it was just me trying desperately to do things I had no power to actually change and getting blamed for it. Which leads me to, is she actually being treated? Or is she just leaving the house like she's going, but she's going to a friend's house or the library? Because if she were in an outpatient program where she was getting 3 meals a day, she would also be doing group counseling sessions and therapy and all sorts of work. Even if she wasn't eating much, her stools should be small, but solid. If she's just hanging out all day and taking laxatives, which is what it sounds like, then she would be regressing to what you see now. I would put a lock on the dishes and especially the spoons. That roommate doesn't seem to respect your property. And I would post a sign looking for a new roommate. She is mentally ill. She is not going to act rationally with you or come to any clear, coherent conclusions about her illness. It would be like talking to a 2-year-old who wants that cookie and fuck you if they don't get it, while screaming and flaying on the floor. She has to go. Honestly, if you're in Ontario, you should be able to break your lease if you give a 60-day notice. Sure, you might lose out on 2 months of rent if you leave now. But I don't know how you're surviving living with someone like her. I would call pro bono services or the local legal clinic at your school to ask for more specific advice. It's all free. Your well-being is worth the financial cost, and this situation is eating away at your emotional and mental health. Look at it as an investment instead of an expense. Is your roommate my former roommate? Geez. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. I had to break my lease and move out to be able to have some sanity after a while.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.